Since that awful night, I have been through a lot of hardships. Mike, it has caused so much harm to so many people, and a part of me feels responsible for it all because of the things he has done. This is not the same as the old-fashioned, conventional practice of blaming moms when children behave badly. It is something quite different. I gave it my all, that much is certain. Considering that my kid was still a teenager at the time, perhaps I should have gone a different route that night. I really have no idea. I simply know that, as always, I was only trying to look out for his best interests, and that I will never stop loving and supporting him no matter what he decides to do in his life. Despite everything, I am his mother. That evening, while I sat about waiting for my son Nick to get home, my phone suddenly began to ring. I looked down at the name that was flashing on my computer, which was that of my kid. Will invited me to come over to his apartment. May I please go? I responded to the SMS message right away. No, not at all, not at all. I just couldn't come to terms with the fact that my son and his buddies seemed to have an unquenchable drive to spend all of the weekend evenings together, and heaven alone knows what they got up to after dark. Please have them home by 9. Ding. Oh, please, Mum, everybody is going. Will beg me to go, the child pleaded with her mother. I was ready to send a text message to you saying something along the lines of, after Will pays your bills, you may accompany him anywhere he asks. But then I had a sudden change of heart. It was pointless to refuse, since he would simply go when I was sleeping without waiting for me to wake up. And how could I possibly be so cruel as to deny my adorable son something anyway? How am I going to offend him and make his life a living hell by excluding him from his social group? He was the spark that lit up my world and the rhythm that kept my heart beating. Okay, picking you up 11:30, no drinking drugs. Mom, love you. I love you too. My most recent SMS message was ignored. I heaved a sigh. Another drawn-out and solitary Saturday evening. I dithered between the idea of watching anything or eating something. Evenings spent alone myself were the worst for me. I was overcome with my long-standing anxieties and suspicions. While I sat in my living room, fidgeting, I listened uncomfortably to the creaking of the pipes in the walls, which was amplified and echoed throughout the space. It was difficult not to let my thoughts wander off into more sinister territory. It felt as though the creaks were even more audible than usual tonight. It appeared as though something had broken inside the core of my home. I fixed my eyes on the wall, which looked as though it was moving, trembling, and even wavy. What the heck was that? What was that? An earthquake? Our region did not have a history of earthquakes. As the front door suddenly flew open, my imagined concerns gave way to the intense pains of genuine dread that I felt as a tall, slender guy wearing a magnificent dark blue suit, a spotless white shirt, and a Cheshire cat smile entered the room and stood before me. He greeted her in a kind manner by saying, "Hi, Lisa." His eyes were empty, looking like little silver discs filled with nothing at all. The walls stopped shaking, and there was no more noise coming from the pipes. There was complete and utter silence in the room. The entrance to the building was abruptly closed. I was startled, yet I was unable to utter a sound. I just gazed at him. He exclaimed in a cheery tone, "I've come to kidnap you." I smiled and shook my head. He then made a gesture of extending his hand and spoke in a somewhat more subdued tone. "Come with me, my darling. You shouldn't worry as much about it as you have been led to believe." "No. I stifled a gasp. Please. Because of my son, I have no choice but to be here. I'm the only thing left in his life. He's just 16. His grin became wider and began to round his entire head as it deepened. You very naive woman. Why do you suppose it is that I am here? I gave her an unverbal shake of the head as a sign that I did not trust her. It's a shame but the truth, my darling. In order to attend Will's party, he had to sell your soul. In any case, don't be concerned. He snapped his fingers, and then, for the first time, I observed a woman's figure standing silently by him. Her name was Lilybeth, and she was going to take care of him. I have no idea how she was able to enter. Her face was horrifying, and I have no words to adequately describe it. It was a twisted face with teeth that protruded at acute angles, the visage of a devil if there ever was one. You idiotic cunt, Lilybeth, your face! Yelled the man wearing the blue suit. I blinked, and the form of a lady seemed to flicker. When I opened my eyes again, I was gazing at a woman who was an identical duplicate of myself. I gave another shake of my head, wishing that the two would vanish. Yet that was not the case. See, the man was confident that Lilybeth could provide him with the best possible treatment. As Lilybeth smiled, I had a glimpse of her brilliantly white and pointed teeth. My state of desperation forced me to finally find my voice. No, this is not going to work out. How could he give up something so important to him only to get what he wanted? This can't possibly be true. Stop lying to me. He rubbed his hands together in a relaxed manner. I feel sorry for you, Lisa, because the majority of the time you would be correct. We do, however, make an exception for mothers and sons since we consider this to be the sweetest of all partnerships. Your souls are so inextricably linked, in such a dreadful manner, that even the rules of the cosmos seem to tremble before you. You should realize that the transactions are different from one another. So listen up and put an end to this argument with me. I have other things to do, places to be, he said, before taking a step closer to me with his silver eyes sparkling with excitement. I screamed, no. I'll make another agreement with you if you'll have me. I bet a bargain. Please share your preferences with me. He arched his brow, and the sly grin that had been building on his face about ripped his head apart. It is really funny. Let me see. In point of fact, I am fully aware of what it is that I seek. You are aware of the harsh reality, which is that even in hell, the souls of men, particularly young men, are prized more than your own, especially if they are new. The possibility of engaging in harmful behavior. Oh, my heavenly being! And especially in comparison to that of a jaded old hag, such as yourself, if you'll excuse me for pointing out the obvious. He paused and rubbed his hands together again, nearly dribbling, before continuing. And especially compared to that of a jaded old hag. You can call me sexist, my love, but it is the reality of the situation. Then, his soul in exchange for yours? She is going to leave. I motioned at my look-alike. He flung his head back and let out a scream of laughing, which was an extremely unsettling sound. Lilybeth, you are such a burden to me. You are so unwelcome. He clapped his fingers together quickly. After hanging her head so that her face was no longer visible, Lilybeth turned and gently moved towards the front entrance of the house. She hesitated for a moment, her hand still on the knob, but the man motioned frantically and said, "Go on, go on." I told you that we haven't had anything all night. She stepped out into the night after opening the door and vanishing. There you have it. There is no Lilybeth. Just the two of you and your cherished kid, but his spirit belongs to me. I nodded mutely. Wonderful. I'll let you go on with the rest of your Saturday evening and let me know how the party goes at Will's home since I've heard it's going to be great and I'd want to attend. After turning around, he went back out with Lilybeth. I was by myself. Was I the only one there the whole time? Since then, I have not experienced a night in which I could sleep peacefully. Nick, who is my kid? You might have heard about some of the things that he's done since some of them make it into the media from time to time. Nonetheless, I am not to blame for this. It was simply out of concern that I attempted to shield him. I swore to it.